I'm Kristen Welker at the White House, where President Trump, anticipating more disclosures from Special Counsel Robert Mueller, lashed out in a barrage of early morning tweets, accusing Mueller of big-time conflicts of interest and arguing Robert Mueller and Leakin, Lyin, James Comey are best friends, just one of many Mueller conflicts of interest. Comey served as the Deputy Attorney General, while Mueller was the FBI Director, but there's no indication they're best friends. In fact, Comey reportedly laughed off that suggestion on Capitol Hill today. As for Mueller, he was appointed by former President George W. Bush, a Republican. While Mueller and his team work on their report, the president says his lawyers are working on their version. We will be doing a major counter report to the Mueller report. This should never again be allowed to happen to a future president of the United States. And reviving his attacks against his own Deputy Attorney General, Rod Rosenstein, asking, isn't Rod totally conflicted? A dramatic difference from Mr. Trump's playful tone last night when Rosenstein was at the White House for a Hanukkah event.
Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, where's Rod? Where's Rod? Rod, where are you? Why? He's entitled to a much better location than that. Thank you, Rod, very much.
President Trump tweeted about the new filings late tonight. Totally clears the president, thank you. But those filings say Mr. Trump directed his lawyer to commit 2 felonies.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.